In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 mindset lifetime lessons. This follows on from the previous 2 Kirk Miller podcast episodes where I shared lessons around food and training since I turned 40 a few weeks ago. But for me, today's subject is significantly more important, as without a strong mindset, or without a mindset you are more in control of, you'll never implement the things you need to do on a consistent basis with training and food. And the reason I'm so passionate about mindset, I know what it's like for my mindset to let me down at certain moments. Little did I realize, as I'll unpack in today's episode, that it was a blessing in disguise, really. Now I've learned to look at those things in a different way. But if there's one episode I really encourage you to listen to or watch, if you're watching this on YouTube, right to the very end, it's this one. It was really, really hard for me to whittle down 10, having been on this earth now for just over 40 years. But I really, really encourage you to listen to the end of this episode. If you can't do it in one hit, pause and come back to it, because the last 4 in particular, I think will really, really be relatable and help you overcome any sticky spots just now. If you feel stuck in business, if you still feel stuck in body, if you feel your relationship isn't where it wants to be, or maybe you've been in a bad relationship and you've struggled to overcome that, or maybe you've come out of a career and you're still struggling with things like identity and stuff like that. So please listen to this to the end, because I promise you, if you can get control of your mindset, the opportunities and more importantly, the happiness at which you will live with are genuinely priceless. So number 1, in my teens, 20s and 30s, I put people on a pedestal. It's really, really important to have role models, people you look up to, but you should never think that that person is better than you as a human. Because one thing I've realized, having coached so many successful people, so many people with a bigger bank balance than me, and having trained with people who have bigger muscles, stronger, there is always someone out there who has something you don't have, or is in a place where you want to be as a result of their life circumstances to date, or the people they've had access to, maybe where they were born, where they were brought up. Because what we don't know, we don't know. And I believe every single person has a superpower. Every single person. Even if someone is stuck and they think, oh God, I've not got a lot going on, even being kind, being grateful, being a nice person is a superpower. It's a superpower trait. Simply put, I think every single person has their thing. But what I used to do was, I've done it in football, I've done it in business, I've done it with body. If someone had something I didn't have, or they were further ahead of me, I'll put them on a pedestal too much. And the problem with that is it really affects your self-worth and your internal confidence. Because if you are looking at someone in that moment thinking they're a better person than me, in that moment you're telling yourself you're not enough. And when you don't feel enough, whatever you do, whatever you achieve, whatever goals you hit will never be enough, and you'll always be chasing self-acceptance. So as I've said before in a previous podcast, be happy with who you are. Always believe you're capable of becoming more. And I just look at people now, if they've achieved more success than me in business, or they're stronger than me, they're fitter than me, maybe they've got a better relationship than me, or they've just got something that I think, God, I'd love to have that. I'd love to be like that. I think, what do they do? How can I mirror the traits? How can I use them as inspiration without putting them above me, if that makes sense? Because there's nothing more that brings you down quicker than comparison. We've had it with clients before where they've compared themselves to someone who's done a transformation, they've been in the program longer, or maybe they've got, in abbreviated terms, better genetics, they come from a sporting background. The key thing is, and this has really helped me, is ask yourself, how can I be better than the week before? Am I doing everything within my control, from how I talk to myself, my daily behavior, the way I show up, the way I train, the way I eat, the way I manage me? And that's all you can do. If you're doing everything within your control and letting go of things you can't control, then you operate with that mindset. You'll continually grow. Remember, when we grow, we feel good. but focus on your own journey. It might sound a bit cliche, but trust me, like nothing held me back more than putting people on a pedestal. Nothing was ever enough. I was growing into pain. And we all know that pain can get you motivated, but you need to have pleasure in the process, whether that's in business, with body, or your relationships, if you are to live a more fulfilled, happy life. Number 2, great mentors have 10 times the speed and efficiency of my progress and mental growth in any area I've invested in. I'm going to reverse that. Nothing has slowed me down more than when I've had periods where I haven't had mentors or people to lean on or to look up to, or to show me a faster route to where I want to be, whether it's in business, whether it's in body, even with football. Honestly, if you can hire or spend time with mentors, nothing will accelerate your growth more than being around someone or following someone's roadmap if they have success or they have the outcome that you want in a given area. Yes, it might cost money, right? So what? Think of maybe current areas in your life today where you feel really, really happy, right? Many people listening to this are probably going to be business and career. You would have had to have invested something. If not money, it would have been time. If not time, well, definitely time, it would have been invested some hard work. But if you can invest in a mentor, I guarantee you'll grow so much quicker, right? Think of the areas of life that you really want to be successful, you really want to be happier, you really want that outcome. Go and find that person, copy them, invest in them. You will shortcut the process that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. Number 3, not taking responsibility for my circumstances has been the biggest growth blocker. Playing the blame game. We can never blame from a place of blaming circumstances, blaming people, blaming other people, blaming places, pivotal moments. You have to take responsibility for everything. And sometimes that is so hard when you know that someone has come into your life, for example, and you think, God, they're a bad person. It could have been a relationship. And you just know that that person had bad energy or was not aligned to your values, or who you're trying to become. Even with health, you have to take responsibility for where you are right now. Even if someone or something has really pissed you off or really affected you negatively or didn't go your way, if you can look even at the smallest thing to think, how can I take responsibility for this situation, right? Then you won't dwell on it as much. You won't let that hold you back. I did it for years after I got let go by Coventry City. When Gary McAllister released me, I blamed circumstances for years. Oh, life's shit, but this, yeah, but nothing, there's no opportunities, this. The amount of horse shit that come out of my mouth was unbelievable for 5-6 years. And you reap what you sow. The law of attraction is a real thing, right? I really believe in that. What you put out, you'll get back. So if you're putting out, making excuses and negativity and focusing on what you don't have or focusing on the past too much, it's only going to hold you back. Take responsibility for everything and watch how much internally you let your mindset breathe, your emotions breathe, and watch how much quicker you move forward. Number 4, confidence is built. I'm going to re-say that. Confidence has always been built by what I've done consistently, not what I say I'll do. Whenever I've had monumental growth when it comes to my internal confidence, it's because I've followed through on what I said I would do. I've operated with ruthless consistency. On the flip side, whenever I've been a talker, said I'm going to do something, not followed through as a result of laziness or lack of planning, lack of preparation, or just poor behavior, it's the biggest confidence drainer for me. Like whether it was in football, if I cut corners, affected my confidence on a pitch. If it's been in business, I've cut corners, affected my confidence with my delivery, maybe even with sales. Of course, these are minimal now because I follow through on what I said I would do, because I know the importance of keeping your promises to yourself. Okay? But nothing has built confidence more by consistently following through on what I said I would do. especially when it comes to physical shape, physical health, my mentality. I want to carry a certain aura around, but you can't just say you're a confident person. Confidence is revealed by what you do and the actions you take. You behave your way to confidence. You action your way to confidence. So if you want more of it, have a ruthless self-evaluation of, are my actions genuinely aligned to the confidence that I want or I portray on the front end? Because it's so easy to bullshit yourself. Number 5, persistent negative emotions are a cue I need to up my game, let go of someone in my life, or do something different in my life. Sounds a little bit heavy, so I'll repeat it again. Persistent negative emotions are a cue I need to up my game, let go of someone in my life, or do something different in my life. Negative emotions, they don't frequently show up unless something needs to change or I need to change, right? They're your feedback. I think your emotions are your biggest feedback of whether or not is my life on track? Am I happy? Am I growing? Am I happy in my relationships, the people I spend my time with? Am I really being congruent with who I say I am or who I want to be? They're my feedback. So I have a much healthier relationship with negative emotions now, because without negative emotions, I don't believe you truly value the positive emotions and the good times and the excitement, the happiness. So yeah, if you are like me and in the past, or like me in the past, where you go through periods or have went through periods, or maybe you're going through periods now where there's negative emotions, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiousness, a lot of overwhelm, use that as a cue that something needs to change, because they don't happen by accident. There are some things that affect negative emotions, of course, like death, when someone dies, or someone in your team might leave, or you don't get what you want in business, or something happens, your kid falls over. I get it, but so often when people get consumed by negative emotions, it's because they're not doing something they know they should be doing. They're not stepping up. They're standing still. And I've been that person. I don't want that to be you. Number 6, I don't get overly emotionally attached to wins or losses anymore. I don't get emotionally attached to wins or losses anymore. I think this is so important, because if we get too addicted to wins emotionally, the problem is the moment something doesn't go your way, or I know this is certainly prevalent for me many, many years ago, the moment something doesn't go your way, it can hit you a lot harder than it needs to be. So of course you need to celebrate your wins, celebrate good moments, but I don't over-celebrate anymore. You celebrate your wins, then you get straight back to business. Same with the losses. Don't dwell. I don't dwell anymore. It is what it is. It's just feedback. If something didn't go my way, I had a loss. Okay, what did I learn? How can I be better? What is that teaching me? Which direction should I now go to move forward? Did I work hard enough? It's again, just like the emotions, it's feedback. Same when I win. I ask myself, why did I win? How did that happen? How can I keep winning? But I don't get emotionally attached. Right? Nothing creates complacency more than that. Number 7, and this is a little bit heavier and a little bit deeper. I know I've done separate podcasts about this, but this really made me think when I was evaluating lessons around mindset. Made me think about painful moments, painful memories. And I truly believe that my most painful memories have helped me to create my biggest superpowers. I believe my mindset is my biggest superpower, my emotional consistency, my strength of character, and that hasn't happened by accident. I've just jotted down here on my notes. There's 5 real painful moments at the time that I think have shaped a large part of my identity and why I'm so passionate about helping people overcome limiting beliefs, elevate their mindset. Simply put, stretch their capabilities. When I had bad knees as a kid, a weird form of arthritis, and I remember seeing the doctor at the age of 6, and this doctor said to me, all I'd ever do was swim. He said, your legs are never going to be strong. Even though at the time that was an incredibly painful moment, it's weird how you only remember these things, certain things from your childhood. In that moment, obviously I was distraught, crying with my mum next to me. But since then, my legs have become my strongest body part. If you look at many of the things that I went on to achieve, as in a year after getting told that by that specialist, I remember winning a Coventry, which was my local town, 400-metre race by 100 metres. Literally, I won by 100 metres. You can't do that if you've got weak knees and weak legs. Then obviously went on to have a football career, which is predominantly lower body related. Again, you can't do that if you've got if you haven't got strong legs. And then, of course, moving into strength, fitness, bodybuilding, etc. My legs are now my strongest body part. So for me, that painful memory, really, I have a sense of gratitude for that doctor, because without that, would I have pushed on as hard as I did with my career? Would I have pushed on to try and prove this guy wrong? Would I be here now even sharing this story and helping people transform their physique, elevate their mindset, if it wasn't for that one moment? But I changed the way I looked at that situation, and it took years to do that instead of being controlled by that. Then turning down Manchester United at 13 and choosing Coventry, the safe option, which I later failed on. This helped me remove limiting beliefs with anyone a coach love and can influence. And a class, if you're listening to this podcast, someone I can influence. Like, turning down Manchester United is probably the single most important reason and my why behind why I do what I do. I want to help people become the person they've always been capable of, remove all limitations of what they can achieve and who they can become. Without that time in my life where I turned down Manchester United, would I have the same passion to help people violate limiting beliefs, to step up, to build a better body, to build more confidence, to live happier? Maybe not. So it was a blessing. Then when I was released by Coventry, first time I got told I wasn't good enough. First time really I failed. I mean, really failed. After trying for years to become a footballer. 20, boom, done. What did that teach me? Not to dwell on failure or rejection. Failure is inevitable. Rejection is inevitable. Whether it's in relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's in clients, whatever. At some point, no matter who you are, you're not going to get what you want. You're going to fail. You're going to get rejected. But how you react is a whole different ballgame. Do you fold or do you step up? And thankfully now, because of that experience from getting released by Coventry, Gary McAllister telling me I'm not good enough, I don't want you, I don't dwell, I move forward. If I fail, okay, it might hurt temporarily, but I don't make it a bigger deal than what it is. You keep moving forward. Then plumbing job. I think painful memory, right? I hated it. I was in a job for 5-6 years I hated. How has that helped me now? I'm way more appreciative and grateful for doing something I truly love. That's why I don't get tired with what I do. Gabby, my partner, she's telling me on a frequent basis, stop working. It's hard when you love what you do. And sometimes when I share to Gabby, it's hard for anyone really, especially Gabby, to relate sometimes when you've done something for 6 years, which is a couple of thousand days, where you literally had zero purpose, zero desire, zero fulfillment, and your needs aren't being met by what you do. So it's taught me to be so much more grateful for what I do have now, even though like many of you guys probably listen to this, am I where I want to be 100%? No, but am I in pursuit of it? Yes. But it's just made me so much more grateful for what I do have. And if I hadn't been through that period of hating what I did, I'd possibly take for granted what I have now. So it keeps you sharp. It's a blessing. Again, prevents complacency. So if you are listening to this and you're going for a sticky spot or you've had some form of trauma, try and change the way you look at that. Go, how has it helped me? If you put pen to paper with consciousness, I promise you, there'll be something from that has helped you become the person you are, the businessman you are, the partner you are, the father you are, the mother you are. I guarantee it. There is a blessing in most things. Lastly, relationships. If you're listening to this, how many relationships didn't turn out as you wanted to? You thought the world had ended. You love someone, they told you they didn't love you. Or you couldn't sleep at night because the relationship wasn't going as it's supposed to, right? For me, all the relationships I had before my current one, they taught me what I want. They taught me what I didn't want. They taught me what I would tolerate and what I wouldn't tolerate. Simply put, they taught me what love is and what love isn't to me. You need feedback. Feedback, everything. Even my client relationships I have. You know, I've run through absolute walls, as do my team, for our clients. But even, you know, the client-coach relationship, it's a relationship. If we ever have a client where we experience friction, that used to stress me out. If a client's not implementing, there being a problem. But I just look at that. What is that teaching me? What is that teaching us? Is there something we need to do differently? Or is this person the right fit? What did I miss when they first joined? You know, all these type of things. It's feedback. But it stops you getting overly stressed and dwelling and getting caught up on past, getting controlled by the people. Remember, your happiness, you want that in the palm of your hands. But if you're letting someone, whether it's a team member, a partner, anyone you're in some form of relationship with, control how you feel. You have to take responsibility for that. But ask yourself, what is that teaching me? There's always a blessing, and it's sort of steering you to what you really want and the people you really want to spend time with. Number 8, I encourage you to write these next 2 down. Consistency hasn't given me what I want, but inconsistency has always guaranteed I don't get what I want. So consistency hasn't always given me what I want, but inconsistency has always guaranteed I don't get what I want. So what do I mean by that? There have been periods, whether it's in business or even with body, perhaps in my earlier training days, where you think, God, I'm being really, really consistent. Why haven't I achieved that goal yet? Sometimes it's just a timing thing. Or even though you've been consistent in implementing a certain method, it just wasn't the most effective method to take you to where you want to be, right? Which is sometimes out of your control. But at least if you've showed up consistently, you've done everything again within your control. But on the flip side, one way you can absolutely guarantee you won't get what you want is demonstrating a lack of consistency. Whenever I've been nowhere near where I want to be in business or with body or even in relationship, in my younger days, when my behavior was certainly not going to attract my ideal partner, it was due to inconsistency. Number 9, very similar. Discipline hasn't always given me what I want, but a lack of discipline has always guaranteed I don't get what I want. Right? Whenever I've been disciplined, I have created more predictable progress and achieved more of the outcomes I actually want, more of the goals I want. Whenever I've lacked discipline, life hasn't gone too smooth, business hasn't grown. Might have been little blips with my physique, perhaps minimal. There might have been a relationship that maybe might have worked, but a lack of discipline, perhaps with my weekend behavior when I was an absolute car crash socially, with drink, etc. But discipline, being disciplined, is one of, if not the most important thing to creating more of what you want. On the flip side, if you want to guarantee failure in anything, lack discipline. Lastly, for me, emotional freedom is always the true metric of my happiness. Emotional freedom is the true metric of my happiness. I'm sure if you're listening to this, like many of my clients, we're all chasing financial freedom. We're all chasing a life on our own terms. But I genuinely believe that the most important KPI and feedback as to whether or not life is on track is the emotional freedom you live with. Because you can have a great big bank balance, buy what you want, go on holidays, wherever you want, buy nice things. But if we're not operating truly in our heart with emotional freedom, then things and going to certain places will never be enough. So for me, like, the most important thing I'm trying to focus on when it comes to managing my mindset on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis is, where's my emotional freedom at? You know, do I feel mentally exhausted? Do I feel mentally restricted, capped? Or do I feel I can breathe? Do I feel like I'm moving forward? Am I experiencing more positive emotions than negative emotions? Because that for me is, without question, the most important metric when it comes to really keeping guard on my mindset. And for me, what has helped create more emotional freedom is doing more of the right things, telling myself the truth, consistently training, respecting sleep, being around good people, living with purpose, trying to make a difference. Might sound a bit boring, but the end KPI of doing all these things, or doing them more frequently than maybe what you've previously done, you'll experience more emotional freedom, more happiness, more positive emotions. And I genuinely believe that the quality of life is down to the quality of conversations that you have to yourself when no one else is around. And if you're not living with emotional freedom, that internal conversation is not going to be pretty. So there's my 10. I probably could have written about 20, but hopefully they've added some values, sparked some thoughts. As always, I would love to hear your feedback. Please, if you haven't already, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.